Struggling to find time for your TTRPG game? We got the game for you. Okay, so we wanted to cultivate that sort of soldier experience that we see in games like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Battlefield, so on. You're more of an FPS shooter guy, Connor, than I am, but I've played them in my time and I've really enjoyed those. I really enjoyed the turn-based XCOM. That's super, super fun. I really enjoyed it when I played it, maybe once or twice at people's houses and things like that. And that experience of being a soldier, moving around a map, like finding a way to terrain is just such a cool vibe, and we wanted to recreate that in our game.
Well, the name really came from us wanting to be able to tell the audience exactly what they were going to get from the product that we're creating. Fire team sums up what you're going to be doing. You are a fire team. You are a squad. You are being tactical. You're working together to meet objectives. And that's tactical skirmish. That's really what the game is about. It is a tactical skirmish. It's a smaller map, smaller amount of enemies. You're in a fight to the death to reach your objectives and to use all the tactical skills that you can muster to complete the objective.
One of our biggest selling points is prep time. So Fireteam requires minimal prep. In the game that I ran yesterday, I just rolled on some tables, rolling d20s and assigning different circumstances to the mission, which took me all of 5 minutes, probably even less. And then I thought about what that would mean. I can do that whilst my players set up their characters, which also took round about the 10-minute sort of mark. So it's fast. It requires less setup than a game like Warhammer or Kill Team. You could play with miniatures on a map physically, or you can play it online, which is what we did. It is a map-based game, and one of the things that suits to playing on a surface or map is our range system. So we have range 1, range 2, so on, in these different range brackets. Now, depending on the size of surface you're playing on, or the size of map, you can make range 2 be, or range 1 be 2 squares. It could be 3 inches on a table. It's kind of whatever you want it to fit to, and that makes it almost adaptable to your game playing scenario.
And a little caveat on the end there is also, I think, one of the unique things that we've come up with as well is the gun mechanics. So we've made unique guns for each class, each subset of gun. We've made attachments, so guns are fully customizable within the game, where you can get your base gun, but it doesn't have to stop there. The gun can be altered to the way you want to play your style, and you can change things to how the mission itself is laid out. So the fast-paced is really a kind of niche that we want to get into. There's a lot of times where maybe our team falls through for era's end and we can't play, and we just want something short and sweet that we can put together really quickly and have a fun game. Or maybe you're at work with your friends and you have an hour break or a 45-minute break and you don't have time to play a full game of D&D or era's end. But Tactical Skirmish can fit into those time brackets. Oh, your friends have come around for a few beers, you're playing a game. Let's play an hour of Tactical Skirmish. It's not that much commitment, but it's still a fun, action-packed game where you can create stories with your friends playing a tactical war game. Why we wanted it to be tactical is we do love the cooperative nature of Era's End. In Era's End, we've really cultivated that. And what is more tactical than a fire team? Than soldiers that are literally living and dying together on the battlefield. We wanted to feel like every move that you made in the game has a response and can help your team achieve their goals.
So, really interesting this. Because we've done a lot to reduce the cognitive load of the Battle Master / Game Master process, the people that you're running, the enemies, are generally weaker. There's not that much happening with them to make it complex. They're not complex entities to run, which gives you room to be thinking, what's coming next? Oh, these enemies threw a frag grenade here. How does that affect the terrain? How does that affect the jungle that they're in? you can be very reactive because of the reduced cognitive load, and in my experience that was so fun. Unlike D&D, where sometimes I feel like there's a lot riding on me as a DM cognitively of managing the boss and their layer actions, and you guys using spells, what effects are taking place. This was much simpler, which gave me more room to get creative, be spontaneous, which is, in my opinion, some of the funnest parts of being a GM, or in our case, BM.
So in fighting tactical skirmish, missions can be made by rolling on a set of tables. You always have one main objective, but if you're playing maybe a slightly longer game, hour and a half maybe, or maybe you've got 2 hours with your friends, you can also roll on the side objective table once or twice. This adds other objectives to the missions. Maybe they're sub-missions with less rewards, but if they get them, they get the higher prize at the end. These can be added on the fly to change or alter the dynamic of the team and where they need to put their attention. Also, in the game making process, there is also a thing called a complication. And now you can roll this 1 or 2 times for each mission, and it will help you build complicated matters into the game. Maybe there's a data breach, and now all the comms are being hacked, and the enemies can hear the speech that you say to each other. Maybe your support items are hacked, and you can no longer call in air support or get resupplies. Maybe the terrain that you're in has been set fire, and now you have to adapt and overcome and go around a different way. All this builds an unpredictable map scenario that players will have to adapt to overcome their missions.
Action points, you've got 3. Each member of your team has 3. You have a group collective turn where everyone within the bounds of that turn makes their 3 actions. That could be to move. There's certain other things you can do, like reload or take cover or so on, as well as make attacks with your gun or melee weapons. We like there being flexibility within the turn structure. We like people to be able to communicate, ideally in RP if they can, just get all the soldier like, you go round the back and so on, which is always super fun and super cool. But like I say, that cooperative aspect of the turn structure really lends itself with those action points in this collective turn, which is why we chose that.
So in fighting tactical skirmish, you can expect a plethora of different types of missions and secondary missions. A couple of them are, for example, data extraction. You have to breach a secure facility and retrieve encrypted data from the mainframe. Recon sweep. You have to scout a heavily fortified area to map out defenses and identify targets for a future strike. System breach. You have to upload a virus into the enemy's command network to disrupt the coordination. A stronghold assault. Maybe you lead a coordinated attack on an entrenched enemy fortress. HVT elimination. Maybe you have to identify and neutralize a high value target behind enemy lines. All of these are accessible within our game.
Now that's really up to the battle master to incentivize and reward cooperative tactical teamwork play. In my experience of playtesting, the team worked really, really well together when you were communicating who's going where, which area of the map are you going to cover, what decisions are you going to make. It really felt like you were a team working cohesively. And as a DM, I'm then minded to go, okay, well, if he's covering that area, let's make sure something's going on in that area. Let's reward that idea. It's about rewarding people for their cool ideas, their sensible decision making. It's not about punishing people for making, I guess, subpar decisions.
We're really proud of our loadouts. We are really proud of them. The loadout is the way that we get character creation to be super fast. You can pick assault, breacher, demolition, sniper, recon, commando, the list goes on. Each loadout has an active and a passive, giving them unique feel. Each has a selection of primary weapons, secondary weapons, and melee weapons that they can take, how many grenades and tactical equipment you can take, and support items like airstrikes and recon beacons. All of this makes the creation process of a character so simple and so easy. You just follow along for the loadout, and there it is, your character's made. And you can get straight into the combat and straight into the action with no time wasted.
I want to cultivate that smart elite soldier feeling. The enemies you're fighting, you can kill them, and they can hurt you, and they could kill you if you were not thinking correctly, you weren't working as a team. If everyone went solo and was just kind of going a little bit crazy, things could go wrong for you very quickly. So working as a team cohesively is how you succeed, and I wanted to cultivate that. You're in it together, but you have to be in it together. Otherwise, it could go sideways quite quick.
So the game is set up to immerse you in the feeling of being a soldier. You can pick your own weapon, your own grenades, your own support items, the attachments even on your guns. And you're thrown into a tactical situation where you have to complete objectives to complete your mission. But there are levels of immersion to this game. You can choose to RP as we do every time, grunts from Tennessee or Mississippi trying to get through the jungle. You can be the British SAS going into Iraq. You can be any of these type of scenarios. Really, it's the type of immersion or the type of story you want to tell. And that is all up to the player. Do you just want to play a tactical game where you get out the map and you're trying to best each other or best the mission? Or do you want to pretend you really are soldiers fighting in the trenches or on the beaches? That's totally up to you. And our game allows you to hit at different levels of immersion depending on your wants.
Hardest part. So balancing is just really hard. I found that with Era's End, and I'm finding that now with Fireteam a lot. We've spent a lot of time trying to balance the guns, and our alpha tests revealed we hadn't balanced them right, and we had to do a bit more. And that's okay. That's what we do testing for. Balancing is a tricky concept. People always find a meta way of playing a certain class. There will always be optimal choices they can make in the building process. And I, as a designer, and we as designers, don't want to remove the concept of a meta. If we can make it so that people have lots of different optimal builds to make rather than one particular one, that's ideally what we want. But finding that Goldilocks zone, it is tricky, and it requires a lot of play testing and number crunching.
Well, like Sam said in the last part, there's so many moving parts to this game, the supports, the guns, the attachments. It was a lovely surprise that it all worked through the alpha testing, that it did cultivate a feel of being a tactical soldier on a battlefield. And I know it's weird to say that we made the game surprising, but sometimes you make things and you have to go back to the drawing board. But this game really felt straight out of the gate that it was doing what we wanted it to do. We love the supports. The support items. I called them airstrike during alpha test, and it did destroy 3 insurgents, and that was pretty surprising and worked pretty well. But yes, it's surprising that it's functioning and that it's working, and that you can be a tactical soldier within Fireteam Tactical Skirmish.
What's next is beta rules. We're going to put our beta rules out there super soon for people to start playing our game and having a go. Now, if you want to be one of those people, join our mailing list. Now, that's in our link tree and also on our regalrealmsproductions.com website. You can find the mailing list in either of those locations, and probably bombarded at you by loads and loads of Instagram posts, which are coming your way super soon.
100% there are. When we made this game, we realised that this really is the ground level. There's so much you can do with this type of game. One thing me and Sam are really excited to bring you is the armoured vehicle expansion. We'll be working on that very soon, once we've got these beta test rules really nice and clean for all of you guys. And then afterwards, the sky's the limit. We want to bring out expansions going back in time. Have you ever wanted to fight in the Napoleonic Wars, or maybe the First World War? What about the future? Have you ever wanted to be a sci-fi space soldier fighting on a starship, or maybe launching an assault onto an alien planet? All these things and more are possible with the expansions that we're going to be lining up for Fireteam
Easy. Join the mailing list, play our beta, give us feedback. Now, if you joined our Discord, you can give us live feedback as you're playing. You can do it a little bit after the session. If you want it to be more formalized and you want a sort of maybe a form sheet, we have those. We can send those out to you if you're beta testing, and we just would love any of your feedback. You know, like, comment, subscribe, the usual social stuff. Maybe give us a little shout out as well. If you play and you've enjoyed it, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining our mailing list. Keep on rolling.